Thank God for guiding the first day of our NYTS and PMVP. As you know, that you will spend 2 weeks, in this event. And in every NYTS, that we always begin by reminding all the participants that time will pass faster than you thought. Okay? So since in here we only have the second year, also the PMVP students. So this is not your first NYTS. That I believe that you know that these 2 weeks that might seem very long, sometimes even dragging, like you are trying just to survive through the class. Okay? But it might seem very long, it might seem that it's taking forever, but before you know it, we will cross the midpoint, then we will reach the closing ceremony. Okay? So you know how this goes, you know the drill. We just want to once again remind every one of you, you do not have that much time. Okay? As much as you think there are still so many days, since this is only the first, that before you know it, we will cross the midpoint. So it is my encouragement for all the students to use your time wisely. I know that there are some changes, that we make some major change, that instead of having all the students in one location, now we take you the second year away from the first, the third, and the fourth, and have you stay in Ontario with the PMVP students. I don't know how you feel about that, and I don't know what kind of impact that might be upon you. Like it or not, agree or disagree, it doesn't matter anymore. Some of you might feel that you wish that you could be with your friends in Bowen Park. Some of you might feel, what is the why are we pull these new changes upon you? But let me tell you one thing. When you spend time to complain about it, not happy about it, disagree about it, you are wasting your time because we are not changing it. We are not. It is too late to make any change at this moment. So for these 2 weeks, whether you agree or not, we are going to continue to try the two churches system. And as for you, if you still dwell in all those complaints, grumbles, not happy, then I can tell you that you're just wasting your life. Because nothing will be different. Nothing will change. So this is the fact. The fact is that we are going to be here for 2 weeks. Then the question is not about why we are here. The question is how we can make the best out of these 2 weeks. And honestly, my honesty thought is no one can help you unless you change your own concept. I can stand here and tell you, oh, you know what, just drop it. Just use the time wisely. Do not think about Bowen Park. Do not think about your friends. Just concentrate. I can say, doesn't mean that you will agree. I can say, oh, I want, doesn't mean you're going to listen to me. But only when you decide to, well, it is what it is. Since this is a fact, then I am going to make the best out of the situation. And then that's when you are able to turn this turn this NYTS into a memorable moment that you get to touch God personally. So please do not think about the system anymore. Do not think about what they were doing in important part. Do not think about what should be done, what should not be done. It is a waste of time. Let's take what we have and make the best out of it. Okay. This time for NYTS, our theme is imitating Christ. Okay, imitating Jesus Christ. And for PMVP, I guess for PMVP, what is the theme of? What is the fish? Huh? What is it? No, the theme. Oh, here I am, send me. Okay. Yeah. Be a fisherman is someone else's theme. Okay. All right. So for NYTS, the theme is for you to grow spiritually, to imitate Christ. For PMBP is about servitude. Here I am, send me. Okay. But though that it might seem differently, okay, because one is about growing in the image of Christ, the other one is marching out to do something for the Lord. It might seem that you are having different theme for the event, but in reality, it's the same thing. If you look at gospel, to them, let us go into the next town, that I may preach there also, because for this purpose I have come forth. This was spoken by Jesus. That he said, let's go to the next town, let's go preach the gospel. For that I have come. So when we talk about imitating Christ, imitating Jesus, what are we learning from him? What are we learning? What does it mean by learning from Jesus and be like him? It means that you have the same purpose of life. You have the same goal. Why do you need to cultivate? Why do you need to why do you need to know the Bible? Why do you need to pray and be empowered by the Holy Spirit? Ultimately, there is only one reason, which is to preach the gospel. For Jesus said, for that reason I come forth. Jesus did not come to the world to perform miracles and signs. Jesus did not come to the world to heal the sick and cure the disease. He said, I come for this reason. And the reason is to preach the gospel. So for NYTS students, the reason that you are here to cultivate yourself is so that when you have the image of Jesus, you are able to say, send me. You are able to say, here I am. I am ready. I cultivate myself. I have the image of Christ. Lord, send me. I shall be used by you. So the purpose of cultivation is for that we are able to serve the Lord. So please do remember that your theme might seem differently on the surface, but the direction, the goal is the same, is mutual. It's so that we are able to be sent by the Lord. Also, before we pray, we want to study a passage for our mutual encouragement. Of course, when we talk about here I am, send me, we need to look at, we have to look at Isaiah chapter 6. Let's turn to Isaiah chapter 6. Isaiah chapter 6. In Isaiah chapter 6, now we have a vision, a calling of prophet Isaiah. The calling of prophet Isaiah. We want to derive teachings, how can you be called by the Lord to serve Him? Yeah, you might be able to say, here I am, send me. But the problem is the Lord look at you and say, oh, I don't think so. If you are not prepared, if you are not ready, just because you want to be called, just because you want to be sent, doesn't mean that you qualify to be used by the Lord. As I grew up in the pastor's family, since young, we always run into a question that I don't know why members love to ask us. Are you going to be like your father when you grow up? Are you going to be a full-time pastor when you grow up? You know what? I have to tell you that question is really annoying. It is. It is very annoying. Yeah, because we were in elementary, okay? We don't want to answer that question. We don't know what we will do in the future. And it's kind of weird if I say, no, I'm not going to be a pastor in the future. And it's kind of weird to say, yeah, I will be like my father, because we don't know if we would. Or should we say if we want? Yeah. So you know what? Yeah. As I grew up in the pastor's family, one of the most annoying questions that we ever encounter is that, are you going to be like your dad? I was like, none of your business. Yeah. But I learned to be smart. I learned that if I say none of your business, then my mom beat me up for lacking of manner. Okay. But so we learned how do we adapt facing that kind of when people ask you such a question. We say, well, if it is the will of God, that never go wrong, right? When people ask you, will you do this? Will you do that? Our typical answer, the answer that never go wrong is, oh, if it is the will of God. And it works. Okay? Every time it works, when people say, and it make me look so spiritual, like so transcending, so holy. Oh, it's all in God's hand, right? If God is willing, yeah. But I didn't say if God is willing, whether I will do it or not. Yeah. I only said, oh, if this is the will of God, and I ended there. Why? Because it sounds good when you end there. It makes you sound like you are more like a holy man. Yeah. But you know what? I love that answer. Because I think that answer is so good and so easy to get me out of all the situation. People cannot continue to ask you. Yeah, people cannot ask you. I say, if it's God's will, and then you cannot ask me anymore because you are not God. You are not God. So you cannot ask me, oh, what if this is God's will? What if you are not God? I don't have to answer you. Okay? But then I ran into there was once. Again, I was asking the same question. That, are you going to be a pastor like your dad? And then my natural reflex, without thinking is, oh, if it is God's will. Okay? I figured that, you know what, once again, I triumphantly got myself out of it, but not this time. Apparently, out of all this year, finally, first person asked me this question seriously. Oh, no, as I grew up, I never feel any member that asked me that question serious. I never take them seriously because I know they did not ask me seriously. They just, they ask for the sake of asking. So I answer for the sake of answering. But this is the first time. First time, the sister was very serious, apparently, because she got angry with my answer. I said, oh, if it's God's will, and she just pulled me over. And she just stared at me. She was like grabbing my arm, grabbing my shoulder, and she was staring at me and said, what have you done to prepare yourself? I was like, take easy, take easy. No, she was serious. And that's the first time ever in my life that I feel embarrassed for answering in such a manner. Because she was serious. She was seriously asking that question, not because she just like, 没事做, like, asking for the sake of, oh yeah, you're going to be. No, she is asking, she wants to know if in the future there will be more workers for the house of the Lord. So she asked me, she said, okay, you say if this is God's will, but what have you done? What have you done? She was very mean. And she was like, what have you done? How have you prepared yourself? If the Lord called upon you today, are you able to answer the calling? I was just like, can we just have a different conversation? Yeah. I was very embarrassed. Because then I realized that all the time in my life when I say, if it's God's will, I never take it seriously. It was only an excuse, a way to get myself out of it. I was never seriously consider if it's God's will. I never really inquire, Lord, what you want me to do in my life. I never prepare myself so I will be ready to answer when the Lord call upon me. And I was embarrassed. And since then, I become more serious about thinking that question. And no, since then, I don't answer that question anymore. When people ask me, oh, are you going to be a pastor? I just, not answering you. I just don't answer. Because whenever I utter an answer, I need to be able to face my conscience. So brothers and sisters, when you talk about imitate Christ, when you talk about, send me, I am here, it should not only be a slogan. Yes, we don't know when God will call upon us. And we don't know what God prepared, planned, bestowed in our life to work for Him. Everyone, you might have a different mission. The Lord might plan something different. Maybe among you, some of you, the Lord meant for you to be full-time, but not all of you. Maybe the Lord meant for you to build a godly family for Him. Maybe the Lord wants you to be the best of the best RE teacher so that you can really embrace the student and help them to become the future pastors. We don't know. You have different mission in life. So the problem is not when God will call upon you. The problem is not what will God call you to do. Is that at the moment, at the minute, at that very second when the Lord say, I need someone, are you able to say that, yes, I am here. Send me wherever you want. Use me whichever the way that you prefer, for I am here. Okay? So you know what? Let's go back to Isaiah chapter 6. This is about the calling of Isaiah. Isaiah was one of the most important prophets, the major prophet, highly regarded and well respected by the Jews, by the Israel, by the Jewish people. Right? And prophet Isaiah, he went through 4 kings. He went through 4 kings in his servitude. He served more than 40 years, 40-some years, close to 50. One of the longest serving worker in the Bible. Diligent, committed, and also well respected by God, by men and by God. So such a great worker, amazing worker, very important worker. You know that sometimes people call the book of Isaiah, they call book of Isaiah the mini Bible. The mini Bible. Why? There are 66 chapters in the book of Isaiah. There are 66 books in the Bible. Somehow, by analyzing the patterns, you are able to find the miniature scope, like the condensed version of the Bible in the book of Isaiah. That's why sometimes people call the book of Isaiah the mini Bible. The mini Bible. He was a great prophet, very important prophet, serving through 4 kings, diligently working for almost 50 years. Well regarded by men and highly respected by God. But if we look at his calling, that it shows us, it tells us, how can we be called by God? What are the characteristics that we need to have? What kind of mentality that we need to acquire in order to serve the Lord? Let's go to chapter 6, verse 1. Chapter 6, verse 1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on the throne, high and lifted up. Okay? So then here, this is the beginning of the vision. In the beginning, it began by the first statement that King Uzziah died. You might feel, hey, having a vision, how is it related to a death of the earthly king? But it's important. In fact, the first statement is very crucial because it begins by King Uzziah died, followed by in the vision, I saw the Lord sit on the throne high and above. Other than here, we find a great contrast. The earthly king died, but the Lord sit on the throne. The heavenly king live forever. If you know a little bit about King Uzziah, if you do some study about King Uzziah, that you will find that Uzziah was a very, very able king. Very powerful, very talented, extremely gifted, and during the time of his reign, the kingdom was extremely prospered. Okay? The kingdom of Judah became very powerful, military-wise, financial-wise, and political-wise. It became a very, very, very powerful country. Okay? So he was a very able person, very able person. But of course, as we know about King Uzziah, King Uzziah, when he was at the peak of his life, powerful, well respected, kingdom is very strong, he became very proud of his achievement. So King Uzziah went to the temple and he said, I am the king. I am going to make offering to God myself. And then the priest came to the king and said, that's not your work. Get out of the temple. This is not your job. And then King Uzziah was very angry. He said, no, I get to do whatever I want, for I am a powerful king. And then he was inflicted with leprosy. Okay, so we all know the story. We all know what happened to King Uzziah. So King Uzziah, he got leprosy. He fled out of the temple and then he locked himself up. Okay, because leprosy is extremely contagious. And his son Jotham, took over to become the new king. Okay? But you know what? From the very beginning of this vision, from the beginning of this calling of Isaiah, the Lord made a very strong contrast. King Uzziah died, but the Lord on the throne forever. I think for you and I, if you want to imitate Christ so that you can serve him, if you want to answer his calling and be ready to dedicate your life for him, number one, you have to understand human change, human die. That's what happened to Uzziah. Very smart, very gifted, very talented, very able, very this, very that. But it began by telling you, he died. When he died, everything ends. When he died, it doesn't matter how smart, how able, how qualified that he was. When a person died, everything ends along with it. So if we build our trust, if we build our faith, if we build our faith, we build our servitude upon some individual. Upon some individual. I serve the Lord because of him. I take on the holy work because of her. When you build your servitude, your faith or your servitude, either. Okay? If you build your faith upon an individual or you join the servitude because of an individual, I serve because he served too. I serve because, she told me to do so. If all your servitude is about a person, then in the vision that the Lord would like to remind you that people change and people die. Okay? So if you build your faith upon a person will disappoint you. If you serve the Lord, try to please a person, then eventually your servitude will fail. That only when we build our motivation, our intention of servitude upon Jesus Christ, when you look and see the Lord sitting on the throne high and above. So it is very important for you to know, for you to understand, why are you serving? Are you serving because you are moved by the love of Jesus? Are you serving because you are able to see the value of the path of servitude? It is crucial. It is extremely important to know why you are serving. Because if you don't, then let me tell you, eventually, you will fall away from the journey of servitude. If you serve just because you are compelled by men, okay? We ran into situation. Some youth insist on being RE teacher. Not because that they want to serve the Lord, but because their peer get to do so. Hey, you know what? We are in the same year. We are in the same class. We are in the same group. How come he get to do it, but I don't? Hey, it look bad on me if she get to be a RE teacher, but I don't. Sometimes, serving is motivated by competition. Sometimes, serving is driven by trying to show yourself in front of others. There are many different reasons. There are many different reasons behind why a person serves. And let me tell you that if the motivation, if the intention is not correct, then along the way, when you run into obstacles, when you run into hardship, when you are dealing with pressures, when you only harvest tear and sorrow, that's when you just surrender and give up and say, hey, I didn't sign up for that. If your faith, if your servitude is built upon the influence of outside, of other people. On the contrary, if you want to serve just because you know that God loves you very much, if you serve because in the prayer you are so moved by the love of Jesus, you say, you know what, God, I might not be the best, but I want to serve you, and sincerely, that's how I wish. I just want to serve you. I want to do something for you. Lord, anything. If you have this mentality that, Lord, anything is fine. It doesn't need to be on the pulpit. Doesn't need to be in the front for everyone to see. It can be behind the scene. It can be cleaning. It can be, anything. Lord, anything that you want me to do, I just want to do something for you. When you have the right mentality to serve the Lord, when you are able to see the Lord sitting on the throne above that never change, never waver, never disappear, then you are able to serve and endure to the very end. So from the very beginning, please do remember, we have to make sure that we serve out of the right intention. Let's go back to chapter 6. Chapter 6. Now in here, it says that when I see the Lord sitting on the throne, in verse 2. In verse 2, Above it stood seraphim. Each one has 6 wings, with two to cover his face. With 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. Okay. Now in here, the vision continue. That in the book of Isaiah, it talk about the angel, seraphim. Seraphim, according to the Jewish legends, they are known as the angel of fire, angel of flame, angel of fire. Okay? And according to the concept of the Jewish mythology, according to their understanding of Jewish mythology, out of all the existence, out of all the beings, out of all the spiritual beings, that seraph is the highest of all. Sometimes you might think it's Michael, right? Oh, the archangel, the one that battles. Oh, no, it's not. Out of all the angels, that you know that you find that in the Bible there are many different names for different angels. Okay, like the Gabriel, like Michael, like you have different names. But for Jewish, that they believe out of all the angels, all the beings, all the existence, that out of all, seraph is the highest. Seraph is the greatest. Seraph is the top, is number 1 in the creation of the Lord. Why? The only reason is because, according to the Bible, it is the closest to the throne. The closest. They believe that if whichever is closer to the throne is closer to God, is higher, is greater. That's according to their understanding. Okay? So the seraph, that in here, seraph, they serve the Lord right before the throne. Out of all the things that were created, they are the closest to the Lord. So in the vision that the Lord allowed Isaiah to see how seraph serve. That in here we found that seraph 6 wings, 2 cover his face, 2 cover his feet, and 2 used to fly. That we know that angels were beautiful. They were created with extreme beauty, elegance, glory. But when you cover your face, then nobody get to see your glory, right? But in here, the Bible told us that with 6 wings, that the angel seraph, that seraph cover the face and cover the feet. Cover the face so that you do not reveal your own beauty. Cover your feet so that you do not reveal your accomplishment, your achievements. You know what, nowadays, people tend to seek after spotlight. Okay? I did this, I did that. Because of me, this job was accomplished. We like to be known. We like to be seen. We like to take the credit. We like to take the credit. This project, because I was involved, so you know what, it was very successful. This truth seeker, because I helped, so now see that they are still in the church. A lot of times, we intentionally or unintentionally, that we like to bring forth our name. Okay, maybe you just saying it. You know what? We still say, "Oh, thank God, thank God, thank God." It's the work of God. Yeah, we always say that we were trained to say the right thing, but at the same time, that if we are not careful, sometimes we also slipped a lot of I into it. Oh, I did this, I did that. Oh, I chat with that truth seeker. Oh, I chat with that. That's why they decide to be baptized. A lot of times we slipping, we slipping a lot of this I, the concept of I, into the holy work. So we tend to reveal our face and want people to see that how talented we are. That the work in the church become our stage of performance. That's why sometimes people only pick things that they do so well. Okay? And the result is, every time you come down, people say, wow, you are the best of the best. And you feel good about it. We don't touch upon things that we are unfamiliar with. Not that we cannot do it. We just don't want to do it because we are afraid that we might get embarrassed. There are two different mentalities. One mentality is that we are afraid that we might not be able to do a good job. That's fine. That's fine. That mentality is fine. You just need to pray more for God to give you courage. Okay? The second type of mentality, you don't do something because you only want to do things that you are good at so that people say that you are so good. You don't want to show that you have weaknesses. And people, you need to improve. Oh, no, I don't need to improve because I only do things that I'm very good at. That's called pride. That's called pride. So be careful. You might be doing the same thing, but with two different mentality. It means something totally different in the eyes of the Lord. Okay? So in here, the angel, the seraph, they cover the face, they cover the feet. So they do not reveal their glory. Not a show off. Please do remember, serving the Lord is not about showing off. You cover your feet so you don't turn around and count your accomplishments. You forget about it. You do things that was entrusted to you. You try your best. You do it and then you forget about it. That's the angel. That's seraph. But how can you do that? Now remember that out of 6 wings, that seraph only flew with 2 wings. In this generation, we want everything to be quick, efficient, quick. Let's do it. Get it done right away. Fast food, fast track, fast food. Everything needs to be fast. But in the church, when we serve the Lord, please do remember that efficiency and productivity might be the worst choice that you have, that you can have. For example, sometimes council meetings take forever. Council meeting takes forever. You know what? Everybody got different opinion. So what do? Some councils say, let's cut down on prayer time so we have more time to discuss. Okay? You do that, the meeting never ends. Yep. Why? Because it becomes what? It becomes your idea against my idea. It becomes it becomes who is winning. Okay? It becomes very personal. You might think that, hey, that's so smart, that's so efficient. Let's just cut down on the prayer time so we have more time in discussion. Yeah? Isn't that the smart way, efficient way, more productivity? Prayer, come on, you kneel there for 20 minutes. That's a waste of time. Let's cut it down. Maybe that's the way of the world. But if you adapt that into the way of the church, let me tell you, the meeting will last forever. And then everybody will end up fighting because it becomes personal. But when you allot the time in prayer so that you pray for the Spirit of the Lord to move among the heart of the council, it might seem very inefficient in the eyes of the world, but it might be the most productivity that you can do in the house of the Lord. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that seraph, there's a reason that seraph does not fly with all 6 wings. When you fly with full throttle, full force, you fly faster. The result is that you reveal your face. You seek for self-glory. You reveal your feet. You start counting on your own achievement. Pride sets in. So when we serve the Lord, make sure that we do need to spend time for cultivation. Cultivation. Prayer is the key to support our servitude. When you say, Lord, I am here, call me, Yeah, you might have the heart, but do you have the cultivation? You might have the gift, but do you have the cultivation? You might have the experience and strength and skill, but do you have the cultivation? The reason that God chooses not to use you may be because God loves you. He doesn't want you to die. Because apparently, when the cultivation is not up there, the more you serve, the weaker you become. So, to be a good worker, to be called by the Lord, we always have to remember one portion of servitude requires two portions of cultivation. And we call that the complete dedication. So may God help us that we are able to really think about it. How do we want to use our time? Where do we want to see ourselves in 10, 20, 30 years from now? How do we find value in our life? May the Lord strengthen us. Let's all come to the front.